This is part one of a two-part podcast.
Hey, this is T. Blankenship. Are you a fan of pie? Where there's pie at Permies.com. This pie grants the user secret access. You also get free things like videos of Wheaton Labs, the ability to add 2 thumbs up to posts, and more. To get pie, go to Permies.com/pie to get the inside scoop of what pie can do for you. Again, that is Permies.com/pie.
It says it's coming soon. Okay, all right. I'm going to pretend it's going.
I think it is.
Okay, I'm here with Brock, and Brock has informed me that he has not foolishly parted with actual money, which he could have spent on pizza, and he lives relatively urban, so he could actually have pizza delivered to his home, but instead he gave this money to me. Ha ha ha! You ain't getting it back, Brock. It's
all right.
Fine. I'm gonna go spend it. So, all right. I said I'd do this for an hour, and I said if you do it live and share it with people, I'll go over an hour. So let's get started. I understand that you are in Minnesota, which is cold country.
Yes. Yeah, ostensibly. Hasn't, as I mentioned earlier, hasn't really been the last 2 years as much, but we still got, 20 below several times last winter. So.
Ooh, nice. That's nice. That'll help to keep the bugs and the funguses at bay. Although if you're in Minnesota, isn't it called the land of 10,000 lakes?
Yes, and I would be remiss as a Minnesotan if I didn't point out that it's closer to 13 or 14,000 lakes. That's we all say that.
So that's 13,000 to 14,000 mosquito breeding pits.
The big ones, yeah. Then there's lots of smaller ones everywhere else too.
Okay. We have like pretty much, at least at my place, no mosquitoes, and so it sucks to be you. But maybe it's lovely and delightful, and I'm just dumb. But okay, and I understand Andreas has a whole bunch of pictures all loaded up and ready to go. And now, what are we going to talk about today, Brock? So it sounds like you've listened to a bunch of my podcasts. You got some knowledge there, so you know what you're getting into. So for most people, I just make them cry. But it sounds like you're going to be just fine because you know what kind of stuff I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think I have some idea of a few things you're going to probably say you dislike. That's fine.
Okay. I take it that we're looking at your delightful garden, a wall of cucumbers in the front with a crab apple tree in the back.
Yeah, this is my front garden, and I've heard you say, the whole Zone 1 thing. When we moved into this house, it had quite a lot of trees. Unfortunately, thanks to the emerald ash borers, we're rapidly losing all the ash trees. But this was one of the only places that we could find that had a good amount of sunlight to get started with our vegetable garden. So we put this in with the help of a local backyard gardening farm consultancy, a couple ladies that run that. We've got 3 4x8 raised beds in front of the house right next to the driveway. So it's great anytime we, pull in or park in the driveway and go in the house, I can say, look at all those cucumbers that are ready to pick or tomatoes, or I need to go trim something or whatever. So this is the southernmost of the 3 beds in the front. We're looking at the back. So that's 2 4-foot wide by 6-foot tall trellises. And the cucumbers went nuts this year with foliage, and they were a bit slow on the fruit, but that's all coming along now. And yeah, that's one of our crabapple trees. That's in the front. We have more in the back.
All right. So it's pretty flat.
Yeah, we have a very flat property. There's a slight grade when I was looking at the topo map from the north to the south, but you're walking on it, you really can't tell.
All right. I'm looking at an image. Is it 3/4 of an acre?
No, that's about 2 acres. The property's
2 acres.
Almost 2. Yeah, from front to back there.
Excellent.
Excellent. So it's kind of small on here. I don't know if you're able to make that out.
How many human beings are you trying to feed?
5 human beings and 3 chickens.
Okay. Good. So you're growing cucumbers and you're getting a lot of them. And I'm guessing if you're going to grow that many, it's not like you've got everybody sitting there going nom nom, shoving cucumbers in their face. You're going to pickle them or preserve them.
Right. So that's one key thing that's kind of motivating this. I am kind of a one-man operation in terms of the gardening, the outdoor stuff. My wife is happy to cook and happy to can, and she's been, has dove right into that the last few years. So doing a lot of canning, and I know you don't love the annuals, but we over the past 4 years we've really narrowed down. We started off growing a lot of different things, including mostly annuals, and quickly found we need a lot of peppers, onions, garlic, tomatoes, various herbs, basil, that kind of thing. We do a lot of potatoes. I'm trying to, I listen to the GamCod stuff, and I've really been thinking about how do we actually get calories out of the soil here, because cucumbers and tomatoes really don't have a lot of calories. So I planted about 200 chunks of seed potato this year. I did dry beans along my whole back fence for about 100 feet and a little bit in front of it. And unfortunately, the rabbits got a lot of the bush beans, so I got to tighten up my my fencing in that back area there. But I think Andres is pulling up a picture maybe here. That's the front. Yeah, so that's that main garden in the front I was talking about. We do have aronias, as you can see there. We do a lot. My wife does a lot of canning with those, jam, syrup, that kind of thing. I have some Saskatoon berries along my back fence. Unfortunately, between rabbits and the crazy rain we've had the last 2 years, they're having a lot of trouble. I've got them properly protected from rabbits now, but we'll see what happens next season in terms of the moisture.
Do you have cats?
We have one cat. He was born in a barn and raised to hunt. But there were issues with small animals dying around here, so we have been keeping him in lately. But he loves to drag rabbits and mice into the house when he's allowed out.
Okay, so what I hear is you have a deficiency of cats that love to eat rabbit.
Yeah.
And while your cat has gone to the neighbors and eaten their pet rabbits, what's happening?
No, he was getting rabbits all around our house, but then there's something, people were reporting a lot of small animal deaths. We didn't know if someone was putting out poison or what was going on, so we've been keeping him in, unfortunately.
Oh.
Because he's my daughter's beloved cat, so we don't want him to, go missing. But he loves to hunt. So I was even thinking about trying to attract more feral neighborhood cats or something to the area, or just get more so we don't care if some of them disappear. I don't know. But yeah, the cat does work when he's allowed out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about how people will put out poisoned bait.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to have a rabbit problem and not a lot of way to solve it. I mean, I suppose you could try to attract owls and hawks and the like.
Well, I try to just seal it up. I mean, I know how to seal things up. It's just in the back. We just have the welded wire fence, and I've seen the rabbits squeeze through it. I got some chicken wire to put along the bottom for next season, and I think that'll take care of most of it.
Okay.
I just try and seal them out. That's my approach right now.
Okay. All right. Cool. All good. Sorry, my mind went off on a. Now, the other thing is I hear that the subtext of when you listed off a bunch of things you're growing, the subtext I heard is your wife really likes to make salsa. Is that true?
She does like to make salsa, tomato sauce. We're making hot sauce, roasted green chili sauce. I lived in New Mexico for 10 years, so we got used to the green chilies, growing a lot of the same variety they grow down in Hatch. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay.
Now, of course, what I want to do is to push all my philosophies onto you, which you, in a way, you signed up for like a fool. And so let's jump in.
Yeah, let me give you a little background on that. So what motivated this call is it's just about time for me to start doing fall preparation. And I'm thinking I need to grow a lot more perennials. And I started looking at my options for perennials, and it was just, I was so overwhelmed. And I thought, who could tell me what I might think about? It's Paul Wheaton. So here we are. That's what I signed up for.
And I'm going to say the things, and you're going to be like, I knew he was going to say that. And it's like, so what's going to be the first thing I'm going to say?
Apple trees.
Oh, okay, sure. I was going to say hugelkultur.
That's in here. So I've got one. I've started building one already. I have 6 or 7 more dead ash trees I need to take down with a chainsaw and a boom lift. And so those logs I'm planting more hugels.
So your ash tree pests are actually helping you out. Like, hey, let me kill this ash tree. Then it'll be nice and dry for your projects. And of course, my guess is you don't have a rocket mass heater, even though it gets so cold where you are.
No, very, very. So we have a very robust department of making you sad here, and I do have a thread. If we get through all this, I was hoping that was like a little lanyard, a little extra. I'm trying to think about how to build a rocket mass hot tub, but we can get to that later if we have time. But it's on my mind.
Well, of course. The thing that's really important is that you comply with everything the government demands of you. That you are absolutely compliant at all times. That is so important.
It's not that important, but I do have a
jump. You say how high and how much do I pay for the privilege to jump? That's important.
I don't have many neighbors, but I do have one, and her name is literally Karen, and she's quite the busybody. So. So I've had some
name Kravitz. I just, because that's my go-to is Mrs. Kravitz. Only really old people like me know who that is.
No, she found out that I was actually in the right, and she's accused me of skirting because I actually read the city code and know what I'm allowed to do and not. But she's called the city on me a few times, and mostly they've told her to pound sand, but I do have to be mindful. We can bend the rules a little bit, but someone's keeping an eye on me. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
I know that for myself, I built big ass berms along the perimeter, and it sounds like between you and Karen, who I'm going to say her last name is Kravitz because that just tickles me. I'm going to have to say that make that berm extra big.
Yeah, we've got a fence there between the properties, and I've got some fabric as a barrier. So we have minimal visibility, but yeah.
She'll find a way.
Yeah.
She's going to invest in drones next because she needs to look at what those crazy people next door are doing. They need to comply with what I want them to do. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
You got it. You nailed it.
But still, I think that, I kind of desperately need to piss off Mrs. Kravitz now. Just so I can giggle a bit. But, of course, the solution to so many things is you need to have enough acreage so you can build berms, so you can do your thing without the Mrs. Kravitzes of the world trying to get you to comply, not with the law, but to comply with, I don't know. And, another way of looking at it is that it is possible that Mrs. Kravitz thinks you're cool, and she's trying to find any possible way to have any conversation with you that she can, and she can't think of anything better. Next time, it's like the next time you hear from her, you might say, if you want to visit with me, you can invite me over for pie.
Yeah, I thought about bringing her some cherry tomatoes. We're just drowning in them this year, honey rather than vinegar, but we'll see.
So, all right. And I was talking about being compliant with the government at all times because that's how you get change is by constantly being perfectly compliant with all governments at all times. And that way the government will just know, you know what? Rocket mass heaters are actually good. And now we're going to go and tell Brock it's okay. Because that's how government works, right? That's the system. Yeah. So, all right. So I said, now, hugelkultur. I want your hugelkultur to be at least 7 feet tall. And just because I want things doesn't mean I'll get anything that I'm asking for, but I can want all I want to want. And I'm going to start with wanting a really great hugelkultur. Now, you said this is the beginning, and I choose to believe you.
Yeah, that's about 4 to 5 feet. Unfortunately, all the material I read before I started on it, I missed the part about making sure there's soil in the middle. So some of that's going to have to get pulled off. And that was a big question I had. So if I want to build a bunch more hugel beds, I'm not sure where to get the soil. I can dig right next to it, as you often say. A little confused about that. Worry it might make it a little swampy. I mean, I guess we have kind of sandy soil here, so maybe that's not an issue. I do have a source for compost and soil that does the biological assays to test for persistent herbicides, you know, because part of me wants to just get 20 cubic yards of that stuff brought in over there and start piling it up. But
don't do it. Don't do it. Let's talk about bioassay for a moment.
Sure.
You know what a bioassay is, right?
Yeah, they try and grow peas and stuff in it and see how it does.
They try to grow peas and see how it does. And it's like, now let's suppose that you've got a lot of composty goodness in there and you've got some persistent herbicides. And so now granted, the peas are especially sensitive to the persistent herbicides. And so let's suppose that the persistent herbicides that are in there, which they're there, they're going to stunt the growth of the peas. Not kill it, but stunt the growth. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, there's a bunch of composty goodness there, which is going to make the peas grow bigger. So if you've got a control of peas growing in dirt, and then you got the peas growing in this compost, and the peas do better, if there was an even better compost and the peas did 10 times better than the peas in that compost, that would be a good bioassay, but they're not going to do that. So the thing is that it gets far, far, far more complicated, but the icky stuff that ends up inside of commercial compost is pretty icky. And as a permaculture person, I want you to never import that sort of thing. I mean, I have imported stuff onto my property, but I got to tell you, I went through some hoops. Like I asked backwards questions a lot, and I did all kinds of things to get my story right. But I tried to bait them into, telling me the opposite of what I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How can I be sure that there's no weeds in your compost? Oh, well, we sprayed the fuck out of it. That's how you know. And it's like, but if you say, how can I know that you haven't sprayed the fuck out of it? Oh, we've never sprayed with anything.
Right.
So,
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I want you to have a thought in your head already that the ground layer at your property is 18 inches lower than what it currently is. All right. So this is kind of like Mr. Rogers' Land of Make-Believe. And then all that soil that's right there, that's too high, you got to get rid of it somewhere. Mm-hmm. And boy, do I have a good solution. And so now in a few magic words, I'm going to solve all your problems. I'm going to say, okay, I want this hugelkultur to be 7 feet tall. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. And you are my labor force for getting me what I want on your property. All right. But I also kind of feel like if I overwork you, you're not going to get very much done. So I've come up with an evil plot. And it goes like this. Take a bunch of woody bits and lay it on the ground where your hugelkultur is going to be, about 4 feet wide, and let's say about 60 feet long. All right? Then you're going to start digging around that wood out of all that soil that's too high. And you're going to put that on the wood until you can't see the wood anymore. Then you're going to add more wood, add more soil, add more wood, add more soil, until the whole thing is about 4 or 5 feet tall. And then you'll notice that where you're standing now got about 2 to 3 feet lower. And so it's like, great. Then when you're standing in the bottom of your new ground level, it seems like this is 7 feet tall, but you only built something that's 4 feet tall. Damn, you're good. What a professional. You should get paid more. All right.
I agree.
So I think that, like when you're saying, where am I going to get this soil? You're standing on it. Hmm. And it's like, and that's good organic stuff. I mean, you've been there. How long have you been there?
I've been here 4 years. This was my grandparents' house that they built, so I know the whole history of the property going back to 1948 or something like that. So, and all that's been going on back there is prairie grass getting mowed down occasionally, and that's it. So.
Oh, it sounds so delightful. All right. Now, okay, hugelkultur. You know, it's going to be more resilient, less work overall, and with your less work, you can go build more hugelkultur. But then on top of that, we want to grow polyculture. So we started off looking at like, man, that's a lot of cucumbers. I could tell this dude loves cucumbers so much. I think his wife makes relish. I think, and not in pickles, like pickles and relish. She's just bonkers because that's a lot of that's going to make a lot of cucumbers there.
Yeah, we had trouble. We didn't get enough last year, and so I planted a lot this year, and now we're flooded. But
okay,
you know,
all right, all fair, fair. Mrs. Kravitz might like cucumbers as well. So have some cucumbers and some tomatoes.
The chickens certainly like them. When we have extra, they've been getting them. So
beauty.
Hey, this is T. Blankenship. Have you seen the new video of Wheaton Labs? It is permaculture awesomeness with all new and improved things like more rocket mass heaters, easy bake coffin, Willy Wonka, rocket cooktop 2.0, and the truly passive greenhouse. To see more, go to permies.com/tour. Again, that is permies.com/tour.
The crabapple tree.
Yeah, we have several.
How's the flavor of those crab apples?
Well, we have not harvested that one. So we have one. There's a nice picture of it somewhere out the back window of our house, right there. It's right over there. I'm sitting right next to it practically. We have harvested that one. We really like those crab apples.
Okay. I mean, they're small, but they taste good.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but we got the whole family out there picking them, and my wife processed them and made some amazing crab apple butter. We have more in the front, beautiful trees, beautiful pink flowers, in the spring. And, part of me wonders, I'd love to have some regular apples. Could we graft onto some of these crab apple trees?
Yes, you can. Have you ever grafted before?
I have not.
Wear your leatheriest leather gloves, or else you're going to sacrifice a lot of blood to the grafting gods.
Good to know.
And so at the same time, I'm not a big fan of grafting. And even more than that, I'm not a big fan of crab apples in general, because it does tend to be a lot of work to get food out. And it's like, I want it to be easier on you. The other thing is that I love the idea of winter keeper apples for a variety of reasons. And I love the idea that you might plant on your 2 acres, you might have a dozen different varieties of winter keeper apples and 0 crab apples. And then what happens next is that these winter keeper apples that'll come out in a few years, they will have crossbred with the other winter keeper apples. And then you can plant those seeds in a variety of places and get more winter keeper apples, because mom's a winter keeper and dad's a winter keeper. And so, but then on the other hand, if it's a crab apple plus a winter keeper, then that the tree that comes from that seed might not be as good. And it's like, damn. All right. So.
Yeah, they'll interbreed, huh? Okay.
But maybe until those apples start to produce, you can keep your crab apples and try to get other things going. So that's an idea. Okay, so I mentioned the whole thing about hugelkultur, nice and tall and big, and you've got some garden space. It looks kind of flat and depressing to me. But let's move on.
Okay.
Sunchokes. Are you growing any sunchokes yet?
I'm not. I figured you would suggest sunchokes. Yeah. Okay. So I've started looking into it. I'm concerned about the inulin content, but I understand there are workarounds and, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you don't care about the inulin content. What you care about is the side effects.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I want to say that the last 20, 30 times I've ever eaten sunchokes, I've had zero side effects. But I think from what I understand, there's two important factors that play into this. So, for example, when your apples are coming on and they are green and hard as rocks, you elect to not eat them. Your taste buds tell you, spit that out.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that there's a short harvest window, and then afterwards, there's apples on the ground that have become mushy, and they've become a living space for other gross things.
Yep.
And your eyes tell you, do not put that in your pie hole. Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, nice and obvious. Unfortunately, a very short harvest window. But let me move on to the next piece, and that is that I want to say that there's a similar sort of an idea that surrounds sunchokes, only it requires your brain as opposed to your taste buds or your eyes. And so it goes like this. Step one, harvest after the first hard frost. Apparently, that shifts a lot of the inulin over or whatever it is, but you'll get less after effects in comedy. Now, you've got kids, I'm guessing. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, 3 kids.
Isn't this the source of all childhood comedy? I mean, don't they need more of this in their life? And that way they could point at the other children and talk about what just occurred and be disgusted while they do the exact same thing 1 minute later and act all innocent and sweet. So I would say, is it a childhood without these side effects? So there needs to be some of that. But all right. So there's 2 things. Number 1, harvest after the first hard frost. Number 2, start small and then have a little bit more. So have it every other day, perhaps for a few weeks, and then have it until you get to like a full-size thing. So apparently there's microbials inside of our innards that are great at digesting this stuff, but you got to have enough of them.
Yep.
And so you got to build it up. So, but here's the next thing I'm going to. You said calories.
Yep.
Sunchokes, it's the highest calorie count per acre. The other thing is you cook them as you would any potatoes. You can even eat them raw. But the next big thing is that they will wait for you. The harvest window is immense. You leave them in the ground. Like with potatoes, you got to pull them out and cure them.
Yep.
And then they keep for like 3 to 5 months if you keep them correctly. And so, but sunchokes, it's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. They will do the potato thing where it's kind of like the potatoes, they put up a flag. Their green leaves turn to yellow. Harvest now. If you don't harvest now, we're going to put this yellow flag away and you won't see it and you won't know where we've hidden the potatoes. So the sunchokes have same thing. Their stalks all go away and you don't know where they are. So we've kind of gotten the habit of making little stakes that have a little yellow sign on them, little yellow flag, and it's like sunchokes be here. So that's what we do.
Gotcha.
All right. All I want to do is to say, because now you've got a great combination. You, the gardener, and your wife, who loves to cook. And I gotta say, I just finished going to all these potlucks in the Portland area, and it was deeply heartbreaking because there were people who did all this stuff to have people to garden with and cook with and all these things, And then when those people either disappeared or turned out to I'm not into it as much as I said I was. I mean, I just wanted to impress you, and I didn't really want to do it. And so all those kinds of stories, and they're doing it by themselves. And then on top of it, they can't even give it away for free. And it's turned into such a poison to them, and they're so, and it's like they're trying to put on a happy face while I'm there as best they can, but I can just kind of see the underlying, wow, that is tough. So you've got a beautiful thing, and where your wife loves to cook. Now here's the next thing I want to do. If you're growing walking onions and sunchokes, two things that can be harvested in November, December, January, February, and March, then basically your wife can make a new soup once or even twice a week where these things are the core of it. But then I'm going to guess that your family can put away a lot of potatoes every day. And now you will end up with basically infinite potatoes, sort of. And it's like, oh, today we're going to do a mashed. I mean, the soup, and then the soup, and then the soup. Because the soup is like you just take all the pieces, throw them in a pot with water and salt, and you got soup. You're done. It's so crazy easy. And I'm talking about crock pot, really. Anyway. Okay, setting aside the crock pot, mashed, fried, hashed browns, baked. I mean, the list of ways to prepare potatoes is a very, very long list. Mm-hmm. And to have infinite potatoes that are not only, when you go to harvest them, not only are they crisp and hard and ready, but they are crisper and harder and fresher than any of your potatoes. So when you get into January, these are going to be far better tasting, far more delightful, far more enjoyable than potatoes.
So I know you say have said that you harvest them through the winter and are talking about that right now. So do you mulch over them or something so the ground is not rock hard, or how are you harvesting those when the ground is rock hard? Where they are, the ground is going to be less rock hard, because you're right. When you get to 0 degrees Fahrenheit and you go out there with a pickaxe, the ground is like, no, I'm not giving you anything. So there's a bit of that. But at the same time, where these are, the ground tends to be not quite as cementy. And I don't know why that is, but I can say that up on top of a hugelkultur, you're going to have a little bit of a microclimate. It is a little less frozen up there. But then at the same time, I suspect your winter is a lot like our winter in Montana. And it's like, all right, it's 20 below. Not harvesting any sunchokes today. The sunchoke store is closed. And then for some weird reason, 4 days later, it got up to 42 degrees during the day. And now everything's turned into a giant swamp in the middle of January. So you're nodding your head like, yes. Occasionally, yeah. I mean, certainly there are warmer, sunnier days. And if it's on a hugel and we can, if we get back to it, but I was trying to figure out how to lay out more, maybe sun scoop. There we go. Screen went asleep. Yeah, I can see where there could be days where that's things are going to be softer.
And on those days, the sunchoke store is open. We're going to eat sunchokes today, people.
Yeah.
And so that is where I'm going with all of this. So now I kind of feel like I'm working on this whole new book, but it's going to take me 5 years to write it as I, discover 100 more details about sunchokes and walking onions. But there's also a lot of other foods I'm trying to include in this winter harvest in Montana. But the thing is that not only is this the largest number of calories per acre, and you're going to feed your family even more, but the harvest window is so huge that it's going to be it makes it so that if there's something else that has a really narrow harvest window and then something goes sideways there, you're not beating yourself up about it. This whole thing I saw so much of in Portland, where good people, good gardeners were like seeing a lot of their bounty go to waste. And
that's hard.
They were just brutalizing themselves over it. And I kind of feel like we're about to record a new podcast about that whole angle of all the things. But we're talking about your property and what I want you to do on your property. And so I want you to increase food production, and your property is so flat. The first thing I want you to do is to add texture to the landscape for a variety of reasons. And then now granted, when you get close to some of these trees, you're going to encounter a lot of roots. But these trees are begging to be the inside of your future hugelkulturs. At least some of them are. The insects have picked a few for you to help guide you in this direction.
Yep.
It looks like things there are pretty well tidied. I see grass. I hope there's plenty of weeds in the grass.
Yeah, we got a lot of plantains, and we actually have clover lawn. So I've been planting Dutch microclover. So it's most of it, I'd say, is heavily dominated by clover at this point. Not that much grass.
I think having like a tenth of an acre of lawn that's going to be a tall fescue is going to be great for the kids, great for all kinds of lawn-related activities, picnic table stuff, yard sale. To me, it just seems like a massive amount of life is done on a lawn. And so, and I want you to do basically a mowable meadow, but I gotta say that the micro clovers are a bad idea. I mean, clovers are good. They fix nitrogen, and when you mow them, they release nitrogen. Whenever you mow, always mow high. But the philosophy set is that they're going to grow low, so you don't have to mow. But what actually happens is all the things that are not microclovers then grow high and outcompete the microclovers, and then you don't have microclovers anymore. You got something else, and so it's kind of like it's even larger maintenance. So I think that the thing to do is to plant like a dozen different things that will tolerate 3 to 4 inches of mowing. And so, but how tall are you mowing right now?
I mow 3.5 inches. So we have one of these Husqvarna auto mowers, and it just goes constantly with the little razor blades and keeps the lawn at about 3.5 inches all the time. Which brings me, I see there's a thing about the property. It is a slight slope, as I said earlier, from the north to the south, very slight. But anyway, I don't have grass clippings to use as mulch, because they all get mulched. Yeah, but they all get mulched in the lawn. So I know that you hate wood chips and wood chippers. So I have a lot of wood chips that I get from Chip Drop, and I have chipped branches when I take down some of these trees. But one of my questions there on the thread was, what could I or should I grow maybe that I can go out with a scythe and scare away Karen and mow down to use as mulch, or what else would you recommend in terms of mulching?
Well, I love the idea of the scythe. I hope you have a giant black hooded robe to do your scything in, especially in October.
Yep.
But I would say, my first thought is yellow blossom sweet clover would be one of many things to grow. So, somewhere you might have this 1/4 of an acre or 1/10 of an acre patch of things you're growing. In fact, you look like, are you connected to the sewage treatment plant, or do you have a septic tank?
No, we're on city sewer, city water.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, like, almost everybody has this patch of glorious grass growing over their drain field, but you don't have a drain field.
No,
Okay.
I had that in New Mexico, but not here. Glorious weeds.
So, I'm going to say, yeah, if, like, let's say you were to grow, a variety of, like, let's say a dozen different things in this 1/10 of an acre, where its entire function is to grow your mulch. And then you're going to go what I do is I take log carriers over, and then I put a whole bunch of the material, I cut it and put it in the log carriers. Then I kind of carry 2 bales of mulchy stuff over to where I want to do mulchy things. But you're right. I firmly believe that anytime you fire up a wood chipper, you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. And so, and you know, a lot of people disagree. They still use the wood chippers, and it's like, that's their thing. Fair enough. I want to say that, if you've got like branches and sticks and things like that, and you're tempted with wood chippers, why not go at it with some loppers, and then lay that material on top. I'll bet you'll get it done faster. It will not be a loud, obnoxious, horrible sound, and it'll be almost as effective as a mulch. It's amazing how if you chop everything up into these 8 to 12 inch long chunks, how well it lays directly on stuff, just like wood chips do. And so that's what I do. But of course, I've also got a rocket mass heater. So sometimes I take the loppers as something and I put it in a box and set it aside, and I'm going to burn it later.
Yeah.
So.
I also have a wood-fired sauna, so I am putting up some of the wood for that, splitting it in sticks for kindling and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
I do have uses for it.
Okay, cool. But I personally am going to be completely against the wood chipper. I mean, your garden is your paradise, right? This is like, because like I go and I visit all these other gardens and I look around and I kind of go, oh man, this garden sucks. And it's like, and I'm glad to come home, and it's like, my gardens are amazing, but they're amazing by my standards. But I kind of feel like, I've been around wood chippers. They stink and they're so loud. And it just seems wrong. Plus, I saw the movie Fargo once.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're dangerous.
Yeah, you do have to have respect for those. So. And
it gives evil people ideas. I mean, do you really need to be feeding the idea machine of evil people? So, yeah. No, chippers.
Okay.
All right. Walking onions. Let's talk about those a little bit. Now, on sunchokes, one of the properties that I saw on this last trip, a gal had planted 2 sunchokes in the corner of her yard, and she left the grass there. So she just stuck the sunchokes in with the grass. Mm-hmm. And then she kind of forgot about it. And then when I was there, 2 years had passed. And I'll bet she had, and I looked at this sunchoke patch that she had growing, and she was so happy because of the beautiful flowers. And she's never harvested any of the sunchokes. And I said, I'll bet, because the patch is now spread so much, I'll bet that this winter you could dig out 200 pounds of sunchokes from there. Mm-hmm. And it'll come back even bigger next year. And so every year it's like next year she might have 400 pounds of sunchokes. And the year after that, she might have 800 pounds of sunchokes. But I mean, like the lawn's getting watered, like how lawns sometimes do. So I think it's amazing at how prolific sunchokes can be. So there's that. Walking onions, similar sort of story. It's amazing how they make more. Plus, whereas sunchokes can be harvested like 9 months out of the year, walking onions can be harvested 12 months out of the year. And just to be clear, 365.2425 days out of the year, every day of every year they can be harvested. And so, so when you're making those soups or whatever, it's like, no, there's always onions, gobs of onions, thousands. There's thousands of onions outside right now, thousands. And so, and they're harvested all winter long. So part of it is that with the path that you're currently on. So for example, the cucumbers. I mean, cucumbers are kind of cool because they're going to be like pumping out a bunch of new cucumbers every 4 days.
Yep.
So now you just got to keep grabbing them and preserving them and grabbing them and preserving them and grabbing them and preserving them. And it's like, but it's also kind of like asking for a lot of your wife. Yep. You know, keep preserving, keep preserving, keep preserving. And it's all going to be now or else it's going to be gone forever.
Well, right? Me, I got to be on it harvesting them too. So yeah, I'm definitely looking, you know, it's just the two of us running this. I'm looking to spread that out and reduce the effort overall where I can. So I like the sound of that.
And what I'm suggesting is once you get enough, you know, because you're going to grow sunchokes, you probably are already growing potatoes.
Yes.
And the potatoes are on right now, right?
Yeah, there's some. The earlier varieties are about ready. The longer ones are maybe going to need a little bit longer. But yeah.
Sure, but you could go out right now and get a bunch of baby potatoes. They're not quite ready, but you could eat them today.
I got some this big a month and a half ago. So yeah, we got potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is when you can't eat sunchokes, that's when the potatoes are available. So nice. It's like whether they're baby potatoes. The other thing is that after you just had 9 months of sunchokes, you might be ready for a little bit of a break. But it's also the time of the year when the garden starts to produce so much more stuff. I'm kind of leaning towards the idea of, I think putting stuff up and preserving it, drying it, canning, pressure canning, all the things, doing all that stuff is lovely and delightful. But when you're going to eat all that through the winter, I kind of like the idea of how do you get that to be a little lighter? Like rather than it being the staple, that it's more of a little, like if you're going to put up applesauce, and granted, I kind of feel a little bit like let's eat applesauce every day. Like let's grow so many apples. But it's kind of like for all these other things, maybe it's more of a couple of times a week thing or maybe 3 or 4 times a week thing as opposed to 2 or 3 times a day kind of a thing. And then let the staples, because right now the standard American diet has 3 things that are their staples. Their staples are wheat, corn, and soy. And that's their staples. And so I kind of feel like let's replace those staples with something else that's more aligned with our garden, something that doesn't require a lot of food preservation time. Because like if you're going to make salsa, you know, there's the harvest, which is great, and it'll always be about that. But then there's the whole thing where it's like you got to do a lot of prep and you got to do it today. And it's like you're going to tuck in for 6 to 8 hours of canning to make all that salsa. Because if nothing else, if you're going to do like, let's say pints, you're going to do 10 pints of salsa. You need a certain amount of materials to make it all. Yeah. And then you got to do a round of canning, but you know, and that's just for 10 pints. But a lot of times it's like, well, the canner's already fired up. Why don't we do 20 pints? So it's kind of like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, she was making tomato sauce for 6 hours yesterday. So, yeah, exactly.
And the thing I learned this last year because I made ketchup decades ago, and I told myself I'm never going to make ketchup again, because spending 12 hours standing there stirring is like never again. However, now what we do is we take a crock pot and we put it all in the crock pot and we leave the lid off, and the crock pot's not too hot, and it kind of does this simmer for 24 hours, and then you come back and it's all reduced down. It's like, ha! That was awesome! Let's do that again.
Yeah.
So, this like is the way. I was a fool before. I can be taught. So.
This podcast is continued in part 2.
Put Paul's brain on your plot. Do you have a hunk of land but don't know where to start? Do you have a world-changing permaculture idea and you need some feedback? Do you feel like the guy in overalls may inexplicably hold the keys to all your wildest permaculture and homesteading dreams? Well, you're probably wrong. But if you want to give it a go anyway, you can hire Paul for a consultation. He will be all yours for a whole entire hour. Schedule your Paulversation today at permies.com/consult. permies.com/consult.